Cool. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. Today, once again, we're teaming up with a long-time partner of ours, Continia. Last time we saw their fantastic document capture add-on for Nav and Business Central. And today, we're taking a look at their expense management product, which is a brilliant tool for streamlining your expense process inside Nav and Business Central. So as some of you may know, my name is Adam, and I'm part of the 4PS account management team. And I'm joined this morning by Martin Holterman from Continia, who's going to be doing all of the hard work this morning. So I'll hand you over to Martin in just a moment, but first we'll just run through our general housekeeping. So as normal, if you've got any questions, we ask that you forward them on to me once the webinar is over. Martin and I will be happy to help you out and perhaps go through some things with you in more detail. So I'll put my contact details up on the screen at the end of the demo. Feel free to give me a call, drop me an email, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. Also, as usual, we're recording today's webinar, so this is going to be available to rewatch online very soon, so keep your eyes open for that. All in all, we're looking for today's webinar to last around 45 minutes. So Martin, if you're ready, I'll hand over to you.
Let's go. All right. Final check. Can you see my screen now? All right. So good morning, everybody. Like Adam said, my name is Martin, and I work for Continia, and I'll be doing the presentation today on expense management. I'll first start off today with one PowerPoint slide that you see in front of you, and then I'll just go into the system because nobody really likes PowerPoints. Today I'll be showing you the whole process on how the expenses can be done from the app on their mobile phone, on an expense portal, how it will look like for the accounts payable team, the approvers, everything from beginning to end. So let me start. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the demo. So we got your Dynamics NAV, but also your Business Central. This PowerPoint slide hasn't been updated yet, here in the middle. And on the left-hand side, we got the expense users who can submit expenses and mileage claims in two different ways. One, they can download an app on their phone, which will work on iPhone, Android, and Windows Phone. And there they will be able to submit expenses and mileage claims directly. We also have an expense portal. Apologies. Good morning. So we also have an expense portal. With the expense portal, users can upload their expenses and mileage claims from a browser. So the difference between the two, functionality-wise, there's nothing. But on a day-to-day usage, you will use this one as well. If you're working on your computer, you may be booking an hotel or an airline flight, something like this. And while you're on your computer, you can just upload it via a browser, which is more convenient. If you're on the go and you got receipts, then I usually use my app on my phone. So all these expenses and mileage claims get sent back to Dynamics NAV and Business Central, where they will be processed, and then they need to be approved, and that can either happen in Business Central or in Dynamics NAV. I'll be showing you this later. On the bottom left, we also have corporate credit cards. What we can do, we can upload your credit card transactions to Dynamics NAV and match these against the expenses that the users have sent in. So if the user has a corporate credit card, they buy something at Tesco, this transaction will automatically flow in directly into your Dynamics NAV, and then it will check if your colleague has sent in a receipt. If yes, it will match it based on date, time, and amount. If he didn't or she didn't send it in, the system will send a notification to the user saying, please submit a photo of this transaction. Hopefully saving the accounts payable team a lot of time chasing people. The corporate credit card, for now we got MasterCard, so we are on a MasterCard approved list, I think it's called. So now basically any bank in the world can, with MasterCard credit cards, can connect to expense management. The Visa and American Express ones will be done this summer. That's what the developers promised me. They're in the final talks now with these two credit card companies. If you want to start tomorrow, well, that can happen, and you got Visa cards, and of course you can manually download your statement and upload it to Dynamics NAV, and then it will match these transactions to the expenses that the users have sent in. The last thing for this PowerPoint slide, we see all this culture, Continia Online. Continia Online is our service that is like a bridge between the apps and Dynamics NAV. It sends back and forth data. An important thing to know, we do not save your data. Your data will be saved on your end. Of course we do, because we touch your data. We do have our GDPR certificates, and where ICAE, I believe it's called, certificate is in place. If you need more information on this, you can find it on their website, but also Adam and I can help you with this. So this is the PowerPoint. Now let me go into Dynamics NAV. So we got Dynamics NAV over here, and we can select a role center as an accounts payable team. In my demo today, I will first show you how it will look like for the accounts payable team, and then I will go into the user's perspective and submit expenses, mileage claims, and some other things. But first of all, for the finance team. So they can select a role center, and there they can see a couple of features from expense management. In the top row, settlements, people can see how many settlements have been sent in. But what is a settlement? A settlement is like a group of expenses and mileage claims. For example, next week I'm flying to Denmark for a training. I've created a settlement in our own expense management system called the Denmark trip. In my Denmark trip, I will add my airline tickets, my hotel cost, my food, of course, my taxi from the airport. Once I fly back next Friday, I will close down the settlement and then send it to my director for approval. He can then see, okay, during the Denmark trip, you spent £500, and he can then see all the expenses that were in the settlement in the group. This can also come quite handy maybe for you as construction companies as well. You can make certain settlements for projects and then also add like a job number into it, so that all these expenses will be posted to that job. And then maybe you can report on it or reimburse it from your customers, something like this. So this is bundling expenses and mileage claims together. In the second row, we got just normal expenses. Of course, you also have individual expenses. I visit customers a lot. In the big cities, I usually have like a parking ticket. So I just take a photo of the parking ticket afterwards and expense it. We got the credit card transactions coming in over here and mileage claims down here at the bottom. So today I want to start off in my demo with these 4 unhandled credit card transactions. See this as a new demo system, and I just uploaded credit card transactions for the first time. The first time you need to assign a card to a user within NAV/Business Central, because otherwise the system doesn't know who it belongs to. I will tell the system now this one belongs to Bart Duncan. I will use the default posting account and MasterCard. Of course, you can set something up manually. And now Expense Management knows that this credit card here on the left-hand side belongs to Bart Duncan in our system. Of course, next month you do not have to do this, but in my demo I have to do it one time. I'm going to press the button Reprocess. When I press the button Reprocess, the system will check if Bart Duncan has sent in any receipts for these transactions. And yeah, let me just press this button. So now it's checked everything and this box is empty. One more time, next month this will all go automatically. Now they went into the expense box, and now we see a couple of things. On the right hand side there will be the picture of the receipt later on, or maybe a PDF file or a Word or an Excel, something like this. Your to-do list and the comments down below. What do we see here immediately? We see pending expense user because the attachments are missing. So Bart Duncan in this case forgot to send in the receipts. In about 5 minutes I will go into my expense portal and my expense app, and there you'll see that these expenses are blinking from please submit photos for these receipts. Before I'm going to do that, let me take you through these columns. It's a bit boring, but just to give you an overview of the product. So here in the first column we can see that Bart Duncan used the corporate credit card. He used it on this date. Then we got expense types. Expense types are very important for expense management. We will create them with you, and behind these expense types we will code general ledger accounts, how many VAT we want to claim back, and we can also filter it down per country so that the users do not have to think about, okay, do we need to claim back VAT and what is this? They will just select expense type, and in the background expense management will do all the accounting for you. We have a couple of examples on here like food, accommodation, hardware, transport, but you can have an infinite number. In our own system we have food with guests, hotel cost, airline tickets, public transport, parking, stuff like that. We got the description over here. That's from the credit card transaction. Attendees, I will show you this later. We got the status. This can now be pending expense user, but this can also be pending approval. Then you see approval by, or it's been put on hold. This is also important. We got a currency code over here. If it's blank, then it's a local currency within a NAV. So we see that somebody expends £24.50, and that's £24.50 in the local currency. If you buy something in dollars, they bought something for $300, almost $300, and that's the equivalent of £189 in our system. Important to know, if you use corporate credit cards, it will get these amounts from the credit card statement, so with the correct MasterCard exchange rate and the small markup that they do. If a user bought something with their own money, they bought something with cash, then and they expense it in a foreign currency, maybe euros in your case, then it will use the conversion rate that you set up in NAV to calculate the correct local currency amount. We got cash/private cards. The user can select if they bought something with their own money or they've matched something to a credit card transaction. And because we're fully integrated into your system, we can add almost any field, but for example, we can add all your dimensions. So users can select dimensions and job numbers and job task numbers if you want to. And you can decide if you want to make this mandatory, yes or no. In the top ribbon, the accounts payable team has all the functionalities that they need. They can send something for approval, post it later on. They can manually split and allocate an expense, so they can change if there's something is wrong. They can merge them together, match manually. They can add dimensions. They can synchronize all these buttons that they need for their day-to-day work to process expenses. This is how it looks like for the accounts payable team. Now let me show you how we can submit expenses and mileage claims. I'll first start off my expense portal. I'm going to open it now. And there I will log in with my own credentials. Everybody will get their own credentials and also their own password. If they forgot their password, they can just click on a link and then says forget password, and they will get sent a new password. So the IT department and the finance department will not be bothered by this. I'm going to log in now. Like this. Hopefully I've done the correct one. I did. All right. So this is the expense portal where users can submit expenses and mileage claims. On the top left, we can submit a new expense. We can do mileage claims here. We can create a new settlement if we want to. But we see also an expenses overview over here. And these are the credit card transactions. I'll first do this one today. So we got the document date and the currency and the amount are grayed out because these are from the MasterCard, but I can change the description. I can say lunch with Adam. And then I can change the expense type to food, but I can also maybe make it food with guests. If I select guests, we have a feature called attendees, and then we can add a name if we want to. So we can say Adam Barker, 4 PS, and then I can say he was a guest, and I'll press continue. And if I want to, I can add a department, a dimension. It was sales. And now I just here on the right hand side can drag and drop a file into here as an attachment, or I can click on it, and it will be it will open my browser, and I can select a photo, for example. You can add any number of attachments that you want. It doesn't have to be a photo. It can also be a PDF file, Word, Excel. That's not a problem. You get to see it here in the viewer here on the right hand side. Now we're done actually. On the top left we can send it. We can save it for later. I can add it to the settlement. So I can say this one belongs to my Denmark trip from next week. Or I can allocate. Allocate is functionality that we added like half a year ago. So in the past we could only select one expense type per expense basically. Now we can allocate an expense to multiple expense types. If you're staying in a hotel, you usually have maybe like £80 worth of hotel charges, something like this, I don't know the prices, but and also 20 pounds worth of food. So now we can allocate £80 to expense type hotel, £20 to expense type food during business trip, for example, which will make everything more nice for the bookkeeping. I'll press send and it will be gone. So this is how a user would send in a receipt if they used a corporate credit card but forgot to take a photo. I'll do one more. So here we got another big one. I will add my receipt like this. And it will be added within a second. And it will be over here. the details are filled in. However, I do not agree. I don't think it will be £1,800 worth of hotel charges. I can press the button allocate, and then I can say add new allocation line, and then I'll say food, and I'll say it was £300 worth of food. I'll press save, and then we can see now that £1,497 is allocated to hotel cost and £300 to food, and now I can send it. The nice thing is we plan to add OCR to our expense management system. We have it on the planning for the end of this year or the beginning of next year. And then the system will be able to capture a lot of data from receipts for you already. So less typing. All right, let's say I want to make an expense from scratch. I've got a parking receipt, for example. I'll press new expense. Then the system will first prompt me that you bought this with your own money or with the corporate credit card. Well, I'll say I bought this with my own money. And then we see all these empty fields here, and some of them are red. The red fields are mandatory, and you as a company decide which fields are mandatory for your colleagues to fill in. You'll decide that. If I open currency now, I've got every currency here in the world because it's my demo system, but of course you can narrow this down. In our own expense management system, we've got pounds, euros, and Danish kroner, because those are the countries that I'm traveling to. Parking received in London. London is expensive parking. I'll say expense type, transport, and so it's £6 an hour, I think. Let's say I stay there for 3 hours, and then I can add a photo. And then on the top left, I can send it, save it, delete it, add it to my Denmark trip, for example, or allocate it to multiple expense types. I'll just say send for now. And this is how easy a user can submit an expense from the expense portal. We can do more from the expense portal. We can also do mileage claims. I'm going to show you that now. We also have all the mileage rules that are in place in the UK, so we can add, tell a user if they have a personal car or a company car, and then they get a different mileage rate, of course. After 10,000 miles, the rate will drop a bit. Those are HMRC rules. We can add that as well. We also have a functionality now that we can add receipts to the mileage claims if that is necessary. So yeah, this is included. What we do, we use Google Maps for this. So I believe 4PS UK is still under their old name on Google. This one, and let's say, where do we go today? Well, the Netherlands is sunny, so I'll open the UK as well. Let's go to Brighton Beach. Why not? And then it will show you the route, and it will use Google Maps here on the right-hand side. I see a small thing now. I forgot to change it to miles, so this is in kilometers, but we can do this in miles. All right. You can also change the route if you think this is necessary, if you drove like this. If a user can also manually adjust the route, however, the accounts payable team and the approver will get a notification of this saying Google calculated 100 miles and you submitted 120 miles. Do you approve of this? I'll leave it like this for now. If I now on the top left, I can press send, or I can add it to my settlements or the Denmark trip. I'll press send for now, and then the system will say, do you just want to send it? Maybe create a return trip as well, or maybe continue from there to another place. I'll just say send it, and it will be gone. I can do another one. It works worldwide. Demo 4PS the Netherlands, because we also have a 4PS in the Netherlands. Today I'm working from my home because I have a lot of demos, and if I type in 4PS, it will show me the 4PS here in the Netherlands, and this is actually the route that I will try. And then I can just say send it, and if I want to create a return trip home afterwards as well, it will do that as well, the other way around, and I can send it, and it will be done. So this is how users can submit mileage claims on the expense portal, and the last thing is settlement. So we can add an infinite number of settlements or groups, I think will be a better word for it. I will make my Denmark trip, I will save it, and then I can add expenses and mileage claims straight from here. Or if I go back, I'll create a new expense. I will say I bought this home from my own money. The currency is pounds, hotel, London. I'm going to London, of course, because it's a Denmark trip. Copenhagen. I'll say expense type accommodation, and then it was £100 because Copenhagen is very expensive. And then I'll have my receipt. And then I can add settlement, Denmark trip, add, and I can save it. And now my expenses added to my Denmark trip. You can see it over here. You see already it once, and there you can see it. And of course, if you click on it, you get to see the page. This is how you submit expenses from the expense portal. But we can also have an app, of course. So let me show you. 1 second. Let's see if this works. I'm going to shut this one down, and then I'll go into here, and then hopefully it will work. Hopefully you can see my app now. So this is how the app looks like. It works on your Android, iPhone, and Windows Phone. It works in multiple languages, of course. Well, first of all, you can create a new expense. I click on it. In my, I hooked it up with my laptop now, so there's a small delay, but in my app, it's really fast, of course. I've got this with your own money or the corporate credit card with my own money. Then at the top, I can type in the amount, £24. I can search for a currency, and I can also make this my favorite by pressing the star button. And then I can either take a picture or I can add something from my mobile phone, from my files. I'll take a picture for now. I just did my real expenses for this month, so I thought, hey, I'll leave this one here. It was a receipt from London, and my Facebook message is there as well. I'm sorry about that. I will say use photo. And then you'll see an attachment. You can see the small thumbnail, of course, and you can also click on it, making it bigger. And basically here are all the fields that are also in the expense portal, red, with a red star indicated are mandatory, and the rest are not mandatory. So I'll do the description, parking, London, expense type, I'll say transport, and then I can add a comment if I want to. I can add an allocation line, so I can add it to multiple expense types, or I can add it to my Denmark trip by pressing the button Add to Settlement. I'll just say Submit by sliding at the bottom, and it will be submitted. The nice thing about this app is that you do not have to be online to submit expenses. You can do this offline, and once you get an internet connection, and the user can choose if that's Wi-Fi or 4G, everything will be sent to Dynamics NAV. We can also do a mileage claim. It will now use my GPS to say you're here at the moment, and let's say to address. I will go to the airport next week. Oh. Like this. It's called Schiphol Airport in the Netherlands. And then it will show me the routes, of course. I can click on them, and I can also make it bigger if I want to. And this is actually how I would drive. I'll go back. And then the description, flight to Copenhagen. And again, my distance is in kilometers. We can switch this to miles for you, of course. I can add it to settlement. I'll click on this button here, and then I'll see my Denmark trip. And then I press save at the top. And then it will say, do you want to create a return trip as well? Continue from there or just save it. I'll save it for now. And we'll be done. We can also open a new settlement from here. I'll leave that for now. We got some buttons here. We can make, like, for example, with the mileage, we can make like favorite routes. So maybe you can claim your, how do you call it, the drive from your home to your work every day. You can just make a fixed route saying home, work, and then you can just click it in the morning and it will expense it for you. So you do not have to fill in all these details. On the bottom left, we see open with a red dot, which is like the mandatory thing. We can see that we got 2 credit card transactions over here where we need to take some action with, and you see your Denmark trip settlement. If I open one of my credit card transactions, you can see that all the details are filled in, and I can just take a photo. I'll take it off my keyboard, and now it looks a lot more dirty than it really is. I will take a picture like this. I'll say use photo, and then I'll just submit it at the bottom. Which is really easy to do. On the right, we can also press history. You can see what you submitted from your app. And you can, how do you say this? You will also see what's been approved in your app and what's been rejected. If a approver rejects your expense, they'll have to fill in a comment why, so you know what happened. In the top, if you got multiple companies where you want to make expenses, and you can switch between companies over here. And on the top right, you can add an extra layer of security in your app with like a code or like a pattern that you can make. You can save images in photos if you want to, use only when Wi-Fi is on, stuff like this. So it's all on here. So this is how the app looks like. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Let me go back to NAV. So as you can see, nothing happened. I'm going to press the button synchronize now. When I press the button synchronize, all the data gets sent back and forth. And of course, we can automate this for you, but in my demo, I just want to press it manually and show you. What we've done, this is an option. We've set that if an expense hits, comes back to NAV, we send it for approval immediately. We can also switch this off so that the accounts payable team can have a look first and then send it for approval. In my demo, it will be sent for approval immediately. So now we see a couple of the different things. We see the receipts here on the right hand side. You can see spending approval, and you can see the amounts over here. At the top, we can see that Adam was added as a guest, and we can see a department code, and the same goes for the mileage claims. And it will be shown here as well. So now we're at the approval stage. How do we approve with expense management? So what we can do, we can add a supervisor per expense user. All the expenses and mileage claims will be sent to that supervisor, and he or she will approve. If you want an additional layer of approval, then what we can do, we can give that supervisor a limit, saying he or she can approve an expense up to £100. If it exceeds £100, then it will also go to the manager, for example. And then you can even say the manager can approve up to, I don't know, £1,000. If it exceeds £1,000, then it will also go to the CFO or to the director, for example. But this is something that you can configure. Approvers will get an email notification if there's something to approve. They will click on a link, and the approval screen will open immediately. They can see it like this over here with all the details, what's happened and what they're submitting. And then on the top left, they can approve it. They can reject it, but then they have to fill in a comment. Why are they rejecting it? An example of both. Luckily, I haven't had that they rejected it because I couldn't expense it, but I've had a rejection saying, please take a better photo of the receipt because it wasn't clear for us. Okay, that's fair enough. Then I'll just take another picture, upload that one, and then it got approved. You can also forward it to another person if you want to. You can put it on hold if there's a query, and then the user will also get a notification of this. And you can add your comments if you want to. If I press approve, it will automatically go to the next one. I'll leave this one open, and I'll approve these as well. And now they're at the final stage. They're ready to be posted. Once they're posted, if they bought something with corporate credit cards, they will not get paid, of course. If they bought something with their own money, they will get paid when the due date is there. And that is something that you can set up. Maybe you pay weekly or monthly. That's up to you. In our system, we have to submit everything before the 21st, and then we get paid on the 25th of the month. I can post them one by one in a batch or with the job queue. And with the job queue, I can say every day at 5 o'clock, all the expenses with status released can be posted. After the posting process, we stop and the expense management process is done. I'll do the mileage claims as well. And everything has been posted. So how do we find back expenses and mileage claims? Well, because we're fully integrated into your system, we can look them up via posted documents. So you can go to posted expenses, for example, and see them over there. You can see them on the vendor, the user in this case. You can see them on the general ledger account if you want to, the VAT entries. Almost everywhere where this receipt touches something in NAV/Business Central, you'll be able to get the picture of the receipt, which is very nice. The last thing that I want to talk to you about today is that the installation of this product is quite short. It's more setting everything up with the finance team, and the app is pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty easy. And also the nice thing is, of course, 4PS will give you training, but after that you're pretty much self-sufficient. So if you look here at field types, with field types we have a lot of fields in NAV that we can add, and we can add more if we want to. You just tell which table the information comes from. I know this is a bit technical. You've selected one, and then you go to configure fields. And these are all the fields that are in the app and in the expense portal right now. But let's say you want to add something, you just press new, and then you'll say, you know what, I want to add the job number. I'll add this one. And if I now press for synchronize, all the apps and expense portals get updated. Users do not need to go to their app store to upload a new version. That's not necessary. Everything is done already. So if I now press new expense, I don't know if you remember, but now you can see above there's the job number. I can add that one as well. So you can manage everything yourself, which is really convenient. This is what I wanted to show you today about expense management. It is actually our most popular add-on next to document capture in the UK. In the UK, you guys travel a lot because your country is a lot bigger than the Netherlands, which is why you're using it more. For you to know, 4PS is one of our longtime partners, and you'll not be a guinea pig, which is also nice to know. If you want a demo for you and your team later on a one-on-one level, that's no problem. Just let Adam or your account manager know at 4PS. And also for pricing, you can go to Adam or your account manager. And I would like to thank you all for your attention. And now I want to go back to Adam, so don't leave yet. And he will close down this meeting.
Very good. Right, cool. Brilliant. Thank you for that, Martin. I hope you all found that useful, guys. As mentioned, if you do have any questions, or as Martin said, if you'd like to see any more, please do get in touch. Either myself or Martin are more than happy to help out. Those are my contact details on the screen now. So feel free to give me an email or give me a call, and we'll see what we can do. Cool. As mentioned, keep your eyes open for the recording of today's webinar. We're going to stick it on the website very soon. Also, be sure to take a look up there for the last webinar that we did with Martin and Continia on their document capture solution. We'll be announcing our next webinar very soon, so do check your emails for more details on that too. And again, thank you for being with us this morning. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again next time. Cheers, guys. Thank you.